Hello, hello, and happy Sunday, beautiful people. It is so very good to be here with you as we gather together on this Sunday morning to celebrate the magnificence and significance of the presence and power of God flowing in, through, and as us. We will begin, as we always do, by grounding ourselves with a word of prayer, and we're going to use the reading from the daily word today. It's a powerful and appropriate word for Healing Sunday. The word is alive, and the affirmation, divine life flows through me. Sometimes when life seems filled with obligations and routine, I may feel as though I am merely existing, moving from one task to the next without sparkle or energy. Today I remind myself I am alive. Vitally, radiantly, joyfully alive. My life is what I choose to make it. Through my positive attitude and understanding myself as a spiritual being, I realize there is so much more to life than the things I must attend to. I will continue to maintain my daily life and respond to the things that need my attention. But now I will meet life with the energy and verve of divine life, which is flowing through me and animating me, no matter what I am doing. I affirm I am a divine being, wondrously and magnificently alive. Amen. And the scripture, now God is not a God of the dead, but of the living, for to God all of them are alive. Luke 20:38. Divine life flows through me. And so I invite you here and now to close your eyes, to stop what you're doing. If you're moving, whatever you may be doing, if you're in the car, pull over. Take a moment and let us take a breath in and breathe out. Allowing ourselves to go deeper in mind, we breathe in and we breathe out. Allowing ourselves to access the most expanded part of our beings, we breathe in and we breathe out. And we affirm, I am here now.
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 There is only one mind, only one power, only one presence, only one divine wisdom, divine intelligence, divine abundance, divine love that is working in all, through all, and as all, that is working in us, through us, and as us, that is working in you, through you, and as you, that is working in me now, through me now, as me now. That life is God. That life is perfect, whole, and complete. That life is your life now, all life now. It is the life of every planet, every star, every blade of grass, every insect, every bird, every human being, every grain of sand. It is the life of all, and it is here now. It neither comes nor goes. This space that each and every one of us occupy, this connection, digital connection that is connecting us here and now, is filled and overflowing with the presence and power of God, with the presence and power of good, with the presence and power of abundance. It is, and it is now. And as I recognize, as I bring the fullness of my attention to that reality, that we are living, moving, and having our being in God's stuff, as I bring the focus of my attention to that reality that we are living, moving, and swimming in the healing that God is, as I bring the focus of my attention to the awareness, to the reality that we are living, moving, and having our being, swimming in abundance, as I bring the focus of my attention to the reality that we are living, moving, swimming in prosperity, in every answer and every solution, I remember that we are one with God and one of God. For just as God is and is here now, neither comes nor goes, so we are. For we are divine expressions of the all in all, individualized, particularized, undivided expressions of the good. God is good and so are you.
Yes.
Oh, my Lord, God is good and so are you. And so it is from this place of awareness that I speak this word in faith and expectation and absolute confidence, knowing that as we gather together with intention, that something will take place. Something will change in our hearts and change in our minds, which must then bring about a change in our lives. I know that as a result of us gathering here today, I know that as a result of us being here today intentionally, something will shift in our consciousness. We will not leave here the same way that we came in. We will leave here more confident. We will leave here more aware. We will leave here enlightened. We will leave here transformed. We will leave here healed. We will leave here better and better and better than before. I am so grateful and thankful to live in the reality of good, better, and best. Nothing but the best for us as the children of God. Nothing but the best for us as children of the divine. Nothing but the best for us, recognizing who and what we are and where we come from. So it is with joy, thanksgiving, and confident expectation that I release this prayer. I release it back into the law because I know that the law responds to us. I release it back into the law because I know that the law becomes based on what we give to it. I release it back into the law because I know the law is like Play-Doh that fills any mold. I release it back into the law because I know that it always responds and it always works. So with joy and thanksgiving, we lift up our voices and we say, Amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
So it is.
So it is, and so it must be. Yes, yes. Well, hello again. Happy Sunday. My name is Pastor Greg.
And I'm Pastor Yolanda.
And it is so wonderful to be here with each and every one of you on this Sunday. So wonderful as it is Healing Sunday, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. I also want to take this moment in time because there are so many things that have happened. It's interesting when we think about the things that have taken place between last Sunday and this Sunday. And most specifically, we live in an interesting time, a time when now Vice President Kamala Harris is the presumptive Democratic nominee. We live in a world where that's possible. And we also live in a world where our sister, Sonia Massey, was gunned down in her own home. We say her name, we speak her name. Yes. We continue to say the names of those who have been slain in this country because we recognize that, again, we live in these dual realities, if you will. But of course, we put the focus of our attention on the world that we want to see. And right now, the focus is on being love and sending love to the family of Sonia Massey and holding our country in prayer and consciousness as we move through the mourning and grief process. Now, we want to take a moment, if you are a first-time guest, to say hello, welcome. So happy that you decided to join us on this Sunday. Feel free to comment, let us know where you're connecting in from. It's not required, but you may find that there are other people in your city, state, or country that are also connected right here, right now, live with you. And I know that can be a comfort. That can be pretty cool. But as a first-time guest, we're confident that because you're here, you will receive something powerful. Because you're here, you will receive something that will support you in living an empowered life and thriving throughout the week. Now, the information you see here on the screen is how you access your digital connection card. Just text the word welcome to 347-472-1078 and you'll receive a response with a link. That link will take you to the digital connection card. Complete that information. Your email address is really the most important piece. And once you submit it, you'll receive another response that says you're all set. At that point, you are. You'll be added to our mailing list and receive all of the correspondence that we send out throughout the week. And you'll also then, of course, know how to reply and reach back out to CSC as needed. If for some reason you have trouble with the texting or with the link, in this post here on Facebook and on YouTube, there is the link here to take you to your digital connection card, so you can use that link as well, particularly for those that may be outside of the U.S. We are so excited that you're here, and again, we're confident that you will receive something that you can use, that you can apply. We teach something we call practical spirituality here at CSC, that it must be useful and it must be applicable to what's actually happening in your life, and we're confident that that will be the case today. So with that said, we can now move forward with our news and updates, and then we will go forward from there into our meditation and into this week's class as we continue to study It's Up to You by Ernest Holmes. It is the fourth Sunday, which means it is Healing Sunday. We will be doing a specific healing spiritual mind treatment today following the meditation. There's still time for you to invite someone. If you know someone that's in need of healing, invite them to tune in to receive this prayer. I'm also going to move you all through somewhat of an exercise. And so I want to just say this now. If you don't already have pen and paper, we're in class mode, so you probably do. If you do not already have pen and paper nearby, get that, grab that, because you're going to need that as we move through this process today. Oh, I am so excited to be a part of this, and I invite you to join me and thought leaders around the nation as we lead and guide you in being mindful and intentional to tune out the fear and tune in the vision in these 100 days leading up to the election here in the United States. As you see here, there will be daily mindful messages focusing on a different word, words like courage and release and vision, and we will guide you through some thoughts there. There's also Zoom check-ins, intentional community building, and it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for you to really choose where you want to put the focus of your attention. So you can go to myelectionintention.com and sign up, or you can text join to the number you see there on your screen, 470-784-0250. And just note, as today is day one, you can sign up at any time and throughout the process. So even as you may be in conversation with someone over the next few days or weeks, and you realize this may be something that's beneficial, that would be helpful, anyone can sign up at any time throughout this process, again, as we tune out the fear and tune in the vision. If you have a prayer request, you can send that prayer request to prayerchampions@celebrationsc.org. We hold our entire community in our hearts and our minds, always knowing the highest and best for you. And we recognize that you may have a specific prayer request. And so you can send that in to the email address you see here on your screen, and we will know the truth with you. You may also want to send in a prayer request on behalf of someone else, and that's all good. We encourage you as well, as your prayer is answered, as there's a shift, as there's a miracle in your life. We want to know about it. We know that prayer works, and we love hearing how prayer is working in your life. So you can send that wonderful prayer, praise report, miracle report, love story to us at the same address. Every Wednesday morning, we gather together for prayer, for the Momentum Prayer Call. We share a reading and we move forward with the words of prayer, being definite with the infinite, understanding and knowing that affirmative prayer is a definite movement of mind in a definite direction to accomplish a definite end. And as we hold space for ourselves, we also hold space for every soul that is connected to CSC, for the continued growth and unfoldment of CSC, and for our nation and for our world. We're clear here at Celebration Spiritual Center that prayer works, and of course it works if you work it. And that's why we continue to be intentional about gathering together at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every Wednesday for prayer. You see the information on your screen. This information is also available in our weekly newsletter that goes out on Fridays. If you're not able to make that prayer live, all good. The prayers are recorded. And so you can use the playback number, call in anytime, 24/7, enter the access code, and the most recent prayer will play. Oh, we're getting close. We're getting close, y'all. The Affirmative Prayer Mastermind starts on August 8th. It's a 4-week class, $97. One thing that's important to note is that registration for the class closes on August 7th. So if you've been waiting, you don't want to wait because the registration may be closed. Additionally, we also have a class minimum. So if we do not meet that minimum number of registrations, then we will not be able to hold the class. So if you've been thinking about joining in, if you've been waiting to register, by all means, you want to make sure that you reserve your seat so that we can have the class and so that everyone can participate. It's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for you to not just learn how to use affirmative prayer in the most simple way possible, but also to actively begin to pray for yourself and others. And we have seen wonderful things happen in the first round and the second round, and I'm confident that even more good things will happen as we move into this third round of the Affirmative Prayer Mastermind. Go to celebrationsc.org/register to register today, or you can scan the QR code that you see there on your screen. As a reminder, because we get this question each and every week, we are in True Sunday Masterclass mode. We will be studying, I believe we're at chapter 8 this week. We're studying the book It's Up to You by Ernest Holmes. If you have not gotten the book, we encourage you to get the book. It's available in print and digital formats. Of course, the digital format you can purchase and download right now and follow along as we move through the text today. And that concludes our news and updates for today. And so we have the wonderful opportunity now to move into meditation mode as we are led in the meditation experience with Pastor Yolanda.
Yes, yes. It is time for the meditation experience. We love to learn and we love to unlearn. And so we spend a lot of time talking about sacred text and teaching from sacred text. And that's all good, and we love doing that. However, there's something about knowing God within yourself, for yourself, that makes those texts come alive. And so we do the meditation experience because God is a felt reality. You can have all of the knowledge, and there are plenty of people with knowledge out there. But until you feel God alive within you, it is just information. Until you integrate this information, until you are walking and talking and allowing your heart to beat in the truth of this reality, it's just information. And so we come together every week to meditate, to go within, to align ourselves with the God of ourselves. And as PG said this morning, we live, move, and have our being in God. It's just like this image. We live, move, and swim in God. We live, move, and have our being in goodness. Many times, when we have our focus on the external world, it triggers the emotion and our body to respond in ways that stimulate fear. But when we remember that we live, move, and have our being in God, we also get to practice and know that our heart is beating in the peace of God. And so nothing that is happening out there has the ability to penetrate and change and alter this peace. Where is your focus of attention? Bring it back to the truth that my heart and your heart is beating in the peace of God. And as we begin to realize that, as we tune into that, everything else tunes out. As we begin to honor our beating heart and know that it is beating in the peace of God, calm comes over us. Answers are available to us. And a right direction, right action become easy for us. Our heart is not beating in problem. Our heart is beating in peace, in the peace of God. And so let's prepare to fill ourselves aligned with the truth of these words, to move beyond the knowledge into the experience. Let's go ahead and prepare ourselves. Bring your feet to the floor so that you are seated upright on a chair on your sofa. That the ears are aligned over the shoulders, shoulders over hips. You're not leaning too far forward or too far backward. And that from this place, we plant the palms on the tops of the thighs. And before we go completely inward, we notice where we are. We let go of the moments that preceded. We worry not about the future, for we are safe right here and now. And from this place of truth and safety and ultimately peace, allow your eyelids to close. And that simple act of closing the eyelids is all the signal your body needs to go home. The simple act of closing the eyelids is all reality needs to remind you that your heart is beating in the peace of God. The simple act of closing the eyelids takes the focus off of the external and allows it to easily swim in the peace of God. For we do live, move, and have our being in God. From this place of awareness, let's bring our complete focus to the breath now. We make no judgment of the breath. We try not to alter the breath or make it be anywhere other than where it is right now. we just notice. Beautiful, everyone. And now we take the focus of our attention and our breath together into the low belly now. And we're going to breathe together for a count of 4 on the inhale, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and then rest for 4. Together, inhale, hold for 4. Open the mouth and let it all go. Release the breath for 4. And rest in the peace of God. Again, in through the low belly, dropping the breath nice and deep. Maybe you've been breathing really high up on the chest, signaling that something is wrong. Drop that breath deep on the inhale. We're holding for 4. And without collapsing the body, we just release the breath and whatever we've been holding for 4. And swim in the peace. In through the low belly, now up through the rib cage. We get to expand the breath, taking it to the sides of the body. Hold for 4. And release, sigh it out. And rest. In through the low belly, allowing the breath to rise. We've expanded the sides, now the front and the back of the body. Hold for 4. And sigh it out. And as we hear the sound release, we release whatever is keeping us away from our peace. And rest. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, now connecting low breath to mid breath to high breath. You realize how much room there is for breath in the body. Hold for 4. And sigh it out for 4. And rest. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, now allowing the breath again to rise to the heart chakra, center of the chest, the place where healing and answers and peace reside. Hold it there. And releasing the tensions, releasing the story, releasing the hurt and the fear. Sigh it out. And rest. And now let's practice putting this all together and slowing the breath down even more. Inhaling through the nostrils, filling all the way up to the top, holding for 6, and then sighing it out through the nostrils and resting. Let's breathe in through the low belly all the way up through the top. And when you reach the top, close the lips. When you're ready, exhale through the nose, going at your pace, knowing that life moves at the speed of you. and that we are surrounded by the peace of God. Take a few rounds here. Last round. Beautiful, everyone. Now let's send all of this relaxation, all of this knowing, and all of this peace into our feet. Maybe you wiggle the toes or raise the heels. Stop the movement. Relax the feet. Allow that energy that is gathered underneath the soles of the feet to connect you to the earth beneath and to the divine feminine that supports it all. Let that energy flow up through the soles, across the ankles now. Go ahead and relax the ankles. Energy flows across the shins and the calves. Give yourself permission. Relax the shins and the calves. Energy flows across the knees. Relax the knees. Energy flows across the thighs, the glutes, the hamstrings. These large muscles carry a lot as we move through life. Go ahead, you are supported. Relax the thighs, the glutes, and the hamstrings now. And just settle in and let the lower half of your body just surrender and be supported. Energy flows from the base of the spine all the way up the spinal column. And each time we inhale and we exhale, releasing the breath and the tension, and we allow the peace to flow. Again, inhaling up, exhaling through the nostrils and allowing peace to flow. And inhale up. Exhale and allow. And the energy flows up. Exhale and allow. And as we cross that heart chakra, pause and notice the beating heart as we inhale. Exhale and allow. That energy and that light and that healing wants to make its way up. Inhale, exhale and allow. And up, and up, and out the crown of our heads. We are now an open channel for love, for peace, for answers, and for power to flow through. As the energy moves back down through the crown, across the third eye, down the throat, across the shoulders, we allow them to relax as they are comforted by our breath and by the peace of our beating heart. Down the arms, out the fingertips. And from this place of openness, scan your body one last time. And without judgment, just notice if there's any tension, any thoughts that have taken you and caused constriction in your body. Send the breath there, send love there. As we prepare for our silent time, remember to be kind to your wandering mind, for the mind is just doing what it does, and we have the ability to decide to be kind to it. We have the ability to decide to bring peace to our lives. we have the ability to decide to heal and to be open to all of God's goodness. You may turn the palms up to receive more, or turn the palms down to ground. I will monitor the time. You just enjoy the healing opportunity. You just enjoy that your heart continues to beat in the peace of God. My heart beats in the peace of God. Your heart beats in the peace of God. Our collective heart beats in the peace of God now. With our eyelids still closed, we remember that there is something powerful happening within us, something that often goes unnoticed, that our heart is beating. And as we've been affirming all month long, that heart is beating in the peace of God. With our eyelids still closed, we remember that each heartbeat brings us peace. Each breath is infused with the strength and the love and the answers of God. As we go forth this week, let our heartbeat remind us that we are always surrounded by the peace of God. If the palms are turned up, go ahead and turn them down. And let's gently begin to wake the body now. As we inhale, draw the shoulder blades up by the ears. And exhale, if you are able, releasing the shoulder blades back and down. This is a soft, gentle waking. Inhale, draw the shoulders up by the ears. Exhale as we release the shoulder blades back and down, creating more space for the heart. Inhale. Exhale as we release the shoulder blades back and down. And one more time, because it feels so good to be open and have our heart beating in the peace of God. Inhale up. Exhale, releasing the shoulder blades back and down. Bring the palms together at heart center. And lightly touch the thumbs into the sternum, that little bony ridge right there at the center of the chest. As the thumbs make contact with the skin, the bone, and the beating heart, bow your chin towards your fingertips and notice the opening all along the spinal column, all the way down. We notice the feet that are grounded. We notice the energy that is uplifted. And we notice the peace of God at the center of it all. Inhale, raise the chin, raise the gaze, release the breath, and maintain the peace. Namaste.
Yes, yes, yes. Meditation is always necessary and it is always good. Thank you, PY.
You're welcome.
So it is Healing Sunday. And as I said earlier, I want to take you through a brief exercise to support us as we move into this prayer. Now, normally, I invite everyone, if you're in need of some type of healing, to be in the receptive mode. And if you want to send that energy, we send the energy. I want us all to be in the receptive space today.
Yes.
And so if you do not already have a piece of paper and a pen, please grab that quickly. If you already have it, wonderful. So what we want to do is to practice a principle. It's a prosperity principle, and prosperity means well-being, right? Well-being in every area of our life, heart, mind, and soul, mind and body, peace in our life. And one of the things that we must consciously and intentionally do as we are seeking something in our lives, we are seeking healing, is we must release. We must make room. And so I invite you right here and now to write down these very simple statements. Okay? As you are seeking healing, as you are seeking an experience, a new experience in your life and in your body, in your mind, in your finances, in your relationships, wherever the healing is, I release all anger.
I release all anger.
Yeah, and you can speak that out, right? I release all resentments.
I release all resentments.
I release all shoulds.
I release all shoulds.
Hello, somebody. I release all coulds.
I release all coulds.
I let this go.
I let this go.
And I set myself free.
And I set myself free.
Now, from this place of awareness, I invite you here and now, if you have not stopped writing, it's okay. If you spoke it out, I want you to close your eyes. And let's all take a breath in through our nose, out from our mouths. And as we breathe in and breathe out with intention, we bring the focus of our attention here and now. And I invite you to allow each breath to drop you a little deeper and deeper and deeper. Allow each breath to signal your body that it is an opportunity to relax, that it is an opportunity to rest. As we breathe in and breathe out, we enter the realm of our deeper mind. As we allow ourselves to move deeper and deeper, we enter the realm of everlasting good, the kingdom of heaven that is always and only within. And it is from this place of awareness that I speak the words of truth and I speak the word in faith, that there is only one mind, only one power, only one presence, only one healer. That is Mother, Father, God. And Mother, Father, God is right here, right now. It neither comes nor goes. There is one life. There is one substance. There is one divine mind. That life, that substance, that mind is my life now. That life, that substance is your life now. The animating power and presence of God is present as you, is present as me, is present as the space that we are occupying, is present as every molecule we breathe in and every molecule we breathe out. All of God is here now. All of God is here now. All healing is here now. We are in a river of healing. Mm-hmm. We are in a river of restoration. Yes. We are in a river of refreshment. We are in a revitalizing river. We are in a reinvigorating river. We are in a reanimating river, yes. For we are in the river of God right here, right now. Recognizing where we are, recognizing where we live, move, and have our being, I recognize that we are one with God and one of God. It can be no other way. There is no separation between you and the divine. There is no separation between me and the divine. It is closer than our hand and closer than our breath. It is here and it is now. And it is out of the recognition of that nowness of God. It is out of that recognition of the nearness of God that I speak this word of truth in faith now. We are healed. We are whole. We are restored. We are revitalized. Right here and right now, I see beings. I see souls being healed. I see all aspects, blood, bone, organs, body being healed and restored right now. Every cell in your body is listening to the song of God, yes, and is singing that song back, remembering who it was, remembering who it is. Restoration, revitalization, reinvigoration is happening now, right here, right now, from the top of your head to the soles of your feet. I am so grateful. I am so thankful for the power of healing, for the power of restoration, for the power of reinvigoration that exists now. All things are being healed now. Relationships are being healed now. Yes. Hearts and minds are healed now. Yes. Finances are healed now. Yes. For there is no lack in spirit. Finances are being healed now. I am so grateful and thankful to speak the word of prosperity, to speak the word of well-being in every area of our lives. For as we recognize that well-being is, we reach out and we allow it. We call it back in. We reach in and we allow it. Oh, I am so grateful for the miracle reports that are taking place as a result of this prayer. I am so grateful and thankful for the hearts and minds that will be set free. I am so grateful and thankful for the beautiful smiles on the faces of those that know beyond a shadow of a doubt that God is with them. Yes. They cannot fail. Yes. God is within them. They cannot falter. God is within them. They are healed now. God is within them. They are restored now. God is within them. They are revitalized and reinvigorated now. And from this place of awareness, I now release this prayer. I release it back into the law, which is always in operation. And I declare that from this place, but as we leave this prayer, as we release this prayer, that we will leave this prayer better and better than before, recognizing that our seeing is better, that our healing is better, our hearing is better, that our thinking is better. We feel better as a result of stepping into this river of love, this river of healing, this river of joy, this river of absolute knowing. And it is with my absolute knowing that I release this prayer with confidence and expectation. It is done. It is done. It is done. Together we lift up our voices and we say, Amen. Amen. Ashe. Ashe. And so it is. So it is. So it is, and so it must be. It is done. It is done. It is done. Oh, my goodness. Well, we encourage you to, of course, share this prayer with anyone that you know that may need it. And, of course, come back to this prayer at any time. Stay in the vibration of your healing.
Yes.
Right? You're on this side now. We're on the other side. We're on the healing side now. There's no reason to go back. We've done the release. We've created the space. And now we have called into our minds, into our consciousness, what shall be. And it is.
Yes.
And it is. And it is, and it is, and it is. All right. Well, we are in Masterclass mode, and we're going to continue with this class today. Briefly, I know there's an issue with YouTube. We will repost this, the replay on YouTube as well as Facebook. But I see that there are many of you that are on Facebook and watching, and that's wonderful. You can also let other people know, come and join us here on Facebook. But either way, you'll have access to the replay a little later today. So as we are moving forward with the class, we remind you that when you're doing the reading on your own throughout the week, if you have a question about the reading, about the text, to send an email to truthsunday@celebrationsc.org. You'll see that on the screen throughout the stream. Please do your very best to get those questions into us by Friday so that we have enough time to prepare to then address them and incorporate them into next week's class.
Yeah, we've had some great questions, and they've been heart-opening. I won't say eye-opening. That's part of it. Heart-opening for so many of us. And so, yes, please keep sending in the questions.
Absolutely.
We love answering the questions.
Absolutely. And so we move forward today with Chapter 8, The Choice is Yours, and I'm hearing the wonderful hit by Black Sheep, rather. You can get with this, you can get with that. The choice is yours. The choice is yours. And as always, Holmes.
I'm sure that's what Ernest Holmes was thinking when he put that on the title.
We begin with Ernest Holmes. He loves to start us out with some powerful sentences.
Doesn't he, though?
The choice is yours. It is not inconceivable that a few generations from now, when a little leaven shall have leavened the whole, historians may record this age as the period of man's great stupidity. It is understandable even now. If we were notified tomorrow that a deceased relative had left us $1 million and we had only to identify ourselves and receive the fortune, what would be our reaction? Many of us would mentally claim the money and begin spending it before the check was in our hands. Others would conservatively await the receipt of the check before changing the basis of their living. But what of the man who paid no attention to it? The one who treated it as they might treat a notice that they had won a shaving mug? Probably the kindest thought any of us would have about them would be that person would should certainly have a guardian. So he's setting up an interesting image because as we've been moving through these chapters 1 through 7, it's up to you, right? We understand, and we're constantly coming back into the awareness that there's this infinite possibility that's available to us, but we must take advantage of it. And to not take advantage of it, to not make use of it, is like someone who was told that someone left them $1 million and they do nothing with it. They treat it as if it's just something as insignificant as a shaving mug.
Insignificant and just, I have it already. I have one already.
Yeah.
Or I don't need that.
Yeah. Yet thousands of us are just as crassly foolish. In the midst of the greatest abundance the world has ever seen, we suffer because of lack. We remain enmeshed in the throes of poverty when we could have riches inexhaustible. We choose blindness when we could have vision. We accept the portion of sorrow which negative thinking lays up in our lap when joy is our inheritance. We live in turmoil when we might have peace. And so it's important, and I want to read that whole paragraph, because when he says we live in poverty, he's not talking about poor people, right? We have riches inexhaustible. He's talking about in the sense of it's a sense of poverty to the extent that we don't fully acknowledge and accept all that is available to us. That is a form of poverty, right? It's also a form of blindness, as he talks about, when we could have vision. We accept the portion of sorrow which negative thinking lays up in our lap, when joy is our inheritance. We live in turmoil when we might have peace.
And it's not a judgment on people that are currently, in terms of economic status or socioeconomic status, are not elevated to another level.
Right.
It's just an understanding of poverty consciousness that all of us, if we're honest, have some level of.
Right. And that, right, billionaires
Right.
to on down,
Right.
And that's the reality. That's the reality. We are like a sculptor, having both the training and the tools with which to work, standing before a huge block of marble, admiring its beauty, yet never turning a hand, and all the while wondering why an interesting statue does not emerge, entirely forgetful of why we had studied for years and why we have tools with which to work. We're like a person who hates darkness and sits alone in the house completely wired for electricity, praying for the light, yet never moving a finger to switch on the powerful illumination. Will it be strange if future generations, knowing all this, call us stupid? Again, this picture, I mean, both of these are wonderful because when he talks about the idea of a sculptor with the training and the tools.
Right. Not a beginner.
Everything you need, you already have within you.
Right.
Right? And yet wondering why an interesting statue does not emerge, right? Forgetting that they have studied. And then, of course, like a person who hates dark, not just sitting in dark. I hate darkness. I don't like being in darkness. This is uncomfortable.
Right. Or they tell the story of why they don't like darkness. And we all can relate to this in some area of our lives.
All the while, your house is wired for electricity.
Wired and ready. All you got to do is flip on the switch.
And not only does the person hate darkness, but they're praying for light.
Right.
Never moving a finger to switch on the powerful illumination. See, it's up to you, and the power has always been within our own hands. How many people in the world really believe that all good is theirs right now? Not 1 in 1,000. Too long we have formed the habit of thinking a thing too good to be true.
Yeah.
Right? This is the one of the big things that we must get out of our minds and out of our consciousness. And this is why it's important that we have a daily spiritual practice, but also a daily living practice of not getting involved in a lot of things that the world is getting involved in, not following the line of conversation and yesing certain ideas that point to this idea of too good to be true, or only enough good for you, or only enough good for certain types of people. Nothing is too good to be true. If a person feels consciously or subjectively unable to cope with life, it is because they do not understand that every individual is a unique individualization of the universe itself, that there is something in them that is primordial, perfect, complete, and all they need to do is to develop that and not fall prostrate at the feet of those people whom their mistaken viewpoint thinks must be great. So again, this is that idea, right? Because the too good to be true, somewhere along the line, there's an acceptance of what somebody told you, whether it was in your family or just on television or in a movie or whatever it looks like.
Or even in your life to this point.
Yeah. And that idea of fall prostrate, see, it's like worshiping. You don't realize that you're actually worshiping ideas that are against what you say you want. Worshiping ideas that are against the possibility for your life.
And a lot of this is not conscious, right?
Right.
And so the reason we bring these things to your attention is so you can become conscious and make a different choice.
Emerson said that the greatness that men have, we have given them. We drape greatness about them from our own perception.
Right.
Right? Yeah. It is the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. Therefore, there can be no failure in the giving. We must know that. The kingdom is already given us. Abundance is already given us. And freedom is already given us. This is why in prayer we're not negotiating with God. This is why in prayer we're not asking for things. We're not having that type of conversation, right? This is why prayer, I was listening to Reverend Ike this week. He was quoting somebody else. He said, the idea of, we know prayer changes things. People say that all the time. And he said, I heard another minister say, prayer changes things because prayer changes me. Right? And that's the reality of what we're doing. There can be no failure in the giving, but there may be a failure in my thinking that this is not available to me, or not as much of something is available to me. If it is true, and this is accepted, right? It is the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom, then there's no failure in the giving.
Right. It's already been given.
Right. Just like sunlight, right? I mean, this is where we can take our physical world, and just as we understand that, right, that we would never question or think, oh, can I have sunlight? Can I experience sunlight? Right? The kingdom is already given us. Sunlight it's given to us. It's available to all of us.
And it's so beautiful, just that idea of sunlight, what our body does with sunlight. Like the two were meant to be together. The goodness was meant to be. When we wake up every day, we should look to and receive the sun. It's been given to us. And it works with our body and our cells to help us heal, to stabilize us, to restore us. So the gift of healing, the gift of goodness is there every day.
Yes. Yes. So think of that as a symbol of this universal, eternal givingness. Everything is created on an infinite, limitless design because it rests on an infinite, limitless basis. And the whole order of evolution is to produce individualized freedom, still acting as perfect unity. God, being itself freedom, could not create humanity and at the same time not create a way in which humanity could be as free as God, because it is only out of God's freedom that God can make anything.
Right. And we understand freedom. We understand that it's supposed to be given. It's supposed to be part of how we live our lives. And we also understand that when we think our freedom is being taken, we rise up.
Right. Right. Now, whether we form the belief emotionally, religiously, or intellectually, we are bound to arrive at the conclusion that in making humanity, God had to make a way whereby humanity would automatically be free.
Right. Freedom is not given to us by anyone outside of us.
Right. And so this is why the whole sin story, as it's interpreted in terms of the biblical story, but specifically as Adam and Eve is misinterpreted and taught, it's a false teaching, right? God created humanity whereby humanity would automatically be free. And what's actually being given to us in that story is the freedom of humanity, right? The freedom of choice. That's, if we want to get into the allegorical, symbolic nature of the story, that's what we're really talking about. And of course, then our choices can harm us or support us. Let us recognize and rejoice in this freedom. The more completely we plumb the human mind, the more it ought to yield. Instead of its being exhausted by use, it grows by use. There is that which increaseth as it scattereth. We are dealing with an infinite and final unity which, though it appears to break down into multiplicity, never breaks down its unity. This is that cosmos versus chaos idea. This is why it's beautiful to even know if you were placed under a microscope, you would appear to be trillions of individual cells. But yet you're one individual self. And when I see you and when you see yourself and when others see you, they see one perfect, whole, complete being. And yet it is also true that you are actually trillions of individual cells, and that can be proven. And so that's what that's what he's talking about when this idea, it appears to break down into multiplicity, but it never breaks down its unity. As above, so below, as below, so above. So as you can understand that about your own physical body, the truth of one and many, so it is true at the highest level of the multiplicity, but never breaking down the unity. We might as well proceed from this viewpoint. We are this moment in an infinite mind which presses against us, is in us, and is our mind. It is not only its own mind, but it is also our mind, because we are made out of it, and there is nothing out of which it could make us but itself. This is an important thing, and Holmes is, I think, very good about writing and teaching about this, that ultimately what we must come to understand as we're manifesting and demonstrating, and we are always manifesting and demonstrating, that it is, as our elder brother Jesus said, it's not by my power, it's not by my might, right? It's not I, but the Father within that does the work. That the mind that creates is actually the mind of God operating in, through, and as you, right? It's not you in the smallest human sense, right? And so often I find that human beings get caught up because they think I manifested that, I manifested that, I manifested that, as though they have some special powers, right? When actually all they have done is make use of the mind that is God's mind in, through, and as all of us, right? There's nothing out of which it could make but itself. So there's only the God mind that we're making use of in our prayer, in our manifestations, in the work that we're doing. We are an infinite mind, and infinite mind is in us. It is by this mind that we think. This mind is eternal, therefore we are eternal. This mind is complete, therefore we are complete. This mind is substance, therefore we are one in essence with all the substance of the universe. It's the only reason you can call any and everything into your life, because you're not calling something that's other than you into your life. And again, that's another thing we get tripped up. You think that you're separate from these things. And so then that's why the things or even the experiences or the people that you attract in your life, you falsely think that that gives you value.
Or takes value.
Yeah. We do not appear complete. We act as if we were temporal, limited, unprepared, and afraid. We are not so foolish as to think that people do not suffer, that they do not experience want, that they are not unhappy. But the potential I, the potential you, is just as perfect as the inherent God. And I want to bring us back to that. He said we do not appear complete, and then he goes later, just as perfect. We remember, when we're reading and hearing the word perfect, we're talking about this idea of being complete. We're talking about this idea of being whole, not perfect in the sense of never making a mistake. Right.
And I love the awareness here. There's no spiritual bypass in this. It's saying we're not silly enough to think that people don't suffer.
Of course.
Or that they don't experience want or the unwanted, that they don't have periods when they're unhappy. We're not saying that at all. But there's something else operating. The potential I, the potential you, is just as complete as the inherent God.
There you go.
And many times when we're in the experience of suffering, we've forgotten that this inherent God is complete in us.
Yes. This is why, going back to the text, this is why the world will call us stupid, that we do not call this perfection into objective manifestation. It is not a matter of choice that we are potentially perfect. It is not a matter of conjecture. If we wish, we might say it is the gift of God. As Jesus said, "Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." Goodness is already given.
I love that line.
We may have misinterpreted it. We may have used our very freedom to bind ourselves. That's how free we are. We were talking about it this week. You're saying Abraham Hicks. Right. You're so free that you can put yourself.
You can choose bondage.
You can choose bondage.
We're so free that we can choose bondage.
Right.
Of any kind.
Right. Goodness is already given. We may have misinterpreted it. We may have used our very freedom to bind ourselves. In fact, I think we do that very thing, and that intelligence which we use in the wrong way is the only thing that can make us unhappy.
And it's like Byron Katie, right? When I believe my thoughts, when I choose bondage in terms of thoughts of lack or suffering or whatever the thoughts are, I suffer when I choose those thoughts, or when I hang around those thoughts, and when I regurgitate those thoughts in conversation, and when I tune into programming that reinforces those thoughts, I suffer. And then we wonder why we don't feel good. And it's not talking about does man sometimes enslave man? Yes, unfortunately. But it's talking about our perspective of the situation. Ancestors went through, I won't even say. But there was something within them that knew they were free, even though.
Yeah. We go on to the text. Someone might argue that faith and fear are entirely different attitudes. Really, fear is nothing more than misplaced faith. Faith in a power opposed to good. If you've never heard that before, that can be very freeing.
Or challenging.
This is why you don't need more faith.
Right.
You just need to use faith in a way that's life-giving and supportive and constructive, right? Because fear is misplaced faith. Faith, we're putting faith in something that's unknown, a wanted experience but is unknown and not experienced yet, right? Fear is also putting our thought and attention in something that is unknown and we haven't experienced yet. So where are we going to place that power, right? In the direction of that which we want, or in the direction of that which we don't want. I believe it is all one, and every experience we have. I believe it is all one, and every experience we have is as real as it is supposed to be. It is not necessary to deny objective reality, not necessary to deny that we suffer or that we are unhappy in order to understand reality, capital R reality. And no great thinker has ever done so. No great thinker has ever done so. Right? So this is why this teaching is not a bury your head in the sand teaching. This teaching is not a teaching to say, don't look over there as police are killing black women in their homes, right? This is not a teaching that says, you don't see any trouble. You don't see any bad things happening. But we do recognize that because of the relationship that we have, this inherent connection with the all that is and this goodness that is given, we have the opportunity to turn in that direction, call that in, and change the external experience. Because anything external is temporary.
Yes.
Goodness is already given. The divine gift is made. And as we awake to the realization of it, it is ours. That is what spiritual demonstration is.
Goodness is already given. Just that little simple sentence, because it is an affirmation. Goodness is already given me. Goodness is already given me now. Whatever you want to say. Goodness is already given. If a thing has been given, then all you do is receive.
Oh, that's all you do. Right. And that's the work. Again, you're talking about Abraham, right? This is why Abraham Hicks calls their workshops the art of allowing. That's what Abraham is teaching. As much as we could say, oh, Abraham teaches the law of attraction. Yes, but not really. Right? The work, all that Abraham Hicks is really supporting any and everyone that'll listen and read and study and practice is the art of allowing. Because the good is already given. The divine gift was already made. I mean, please just breathe that in for a second. The divine gift was already made. You know, it's one thing to wait for your birthday to get a gift, right? But this is not, there is no waiting for your birthday. Once a year, there's a special time where you get gifts, or Christmas, or whatever it might be, or any of these other holidays we have. The goodness is already given. Divine gift is made. But if someone had told you that you can only get gifts once a year, then you would just be waiting once a year.
Or if someone had told you you had to pray, beg, and beseech, then that's what you would do. And you would think that that's what's given it to you.
Right. And some people are better at that than others.
Right. And it goes back to the beginning when he's talking about all of this, of this chapter. He continues to reinforce what he establishes at the beginning of these chapters, giving you more illustrations, more examples to find one that illuminates these teachings for you.
We shall find everything that we believe is perfectly logical and inevitably necessary, fundamentally so. But it is the misconception of the way it works that causes confusion in the individual mind. That's it right there.
What I just said.
Not understanding the way it works. That's the only difference, right? It's not that New Thought, we're not better or have any more information than anyone else, right? But New Thought clarifies the way it works.
I love that.
In the individual mind. Right.
It's no different than if someone explained electricity and how it worked, and that you have access to it by turning on this switch. See, we take it for granted because we have been taught these things. You didn't come here knowing, oh, electricity, I just turn on the switch. Someone demonstrated it. Someone showed you how to do it. You tried it for yourself, and you kept using it. And so it became real.
Right.
Electricity flows into my home. I turn on the switch. And if you're in some homes, you had somebody run around turn you to turn off the lights because you didn't want to use electricity, right? Which is a lack conversation. But we had in a relationship, we established that from the very beginning. We were taught how to think about it. And then we just used it from then on.
Yep. A spiritual mind treatment is a rational thing, but it is a thing of feeling too. What are we doing when we make our demand? We are invoking the law on our behalf, that it shall do a certain specific thing for us, but we are not limiting the way the thing shall be done.
That's important.
The only person who can know whether or not this is so is the person who can prove it. And they will know it to the extent that they do prove it. It is there to be used. It has been proved by many. So there's the other thing. We don't just talk about these things. We put it into practice. We make use of it. We remember that there is a law that is in operation, that responds to us, that becomes through us. And we endeavor, we trust that we can make use of it, and we practice and learn the nuances, right? Learn the way it works and find the ways that work well for us in how we make use of it.
And you got to get consistent with it. I know that in some instances, when it's something new that you want to demonstrate, you sometimes revert back to old ways of being and you forget. But the moment you come to yourself and you realize, wait, it's already been given. I've just decided that it's mine now. And then you use your tools in that way to support the truth that it's already been given.
And that's for every part of your life.
Every part.
Right? Because generally we come back to these things once we're in crisis. Right? Oh, there's a problem. Oh, now what do I need to read? Let me study. Let me tap in and see what CSC is doing and hear a good word. Right? And I get that.
And
right?
it's important. That's why we're here every Sunday.
And I get that. But there comes an opportunity. There comes a time when, from every little thing, you come into an awareness. You have an awareness when you're brushing your teeth that God is with you now. Right? You have an awareness when you're at work. God is with you now, and you are operating, and you call on your God mind to work with and through you, from the mundane tasks at work to whatever big project or presentation you have going on. Right? That when you're on the subway, when you're at the bus stop, when you're on the plane, right, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you're going out to eat, you're going on a date, you're going, to a sporting event, whatever it may be. You're going to the beach. You're going to the amusement park. Because wherever I am, God is. Right? And all is well. And so then your life becomes a God experience. That's why we talk about here at CSC, I am the God experience. All of us. That's the reality. That's the possibility.
And many times we wait and only look to God for the big things, what we think are big things.
And we got the rest.
And we got the rest. But what we don't realize is God is with me no matter what it is. Picking out what I put on, God is there. And until you realize that God is that close, always constantly encountered, then you're going to be trying to figure it out on your own. And that's not how it has to work. That's not how it always works.
Right.
Because we're choosing to be separate in our thinking that we got this.
Yep.
We only have this because God is with us, moving in, through, and as us. That's why we have it. Not because of our might, not because of our strength.
No.
Because I was about to say something bad, that will fail.
Yep.
Our willpower does fail.
Yep.
But the God that is with, in, through, and as us never fails. That's because when you turn to it, the answers come. The answers were always there. But you decided the answer was too big for you. You decided that moving in this direction in your life was too big. You decided that relationship was too good for you. You decided that your body couldn't heal this quickly. You decided. But that's not what God decided.
Hey.
God said it was already given.
Yeah, that's the reality. The discouraging thought that it may not be good for us to have a greater good should never enter our mind. We are certainly not going to be able to experience a greater good while we deny its existence. This is, of course, think about your own life, your individual life, right? Before we get into the larger ills and troubles of the world, right? That there are things you want to experience a greater good, but also somewhere in your mind, you've also denied its existence, right? We cannot realize the good we desire as long as we say, I know I cannot get it because I have no pull.
I have no weight.
Right.
I ain't famous. I don't have enough money, right? Whatever the pull is that you don't have.
Right. Our progress does not depend on the influence or even the goodwill of any person. It is not pull we need, but to listen more intently to the inner push, hello somebody, of spirit, which is forever pressing against us for expression.
And when it says pressing against us, it's not forcing it. It's just there, quietly waiting to say yes. And it ain't going away. That's why I feel so urgent sometimes, like it's pushing, right?
The trouble is that for so long, the world has looked upon things spiritual as being unnatural, that people stand a little aghast at the world, and they are practically
At the word,
and they are practically incredulous when told that by their own thought they can reach out and contact the source of all good. By their own thought, they can demonstrate abundance. By their own thought, they can change joy into sorrow. By their own thought, they can change their physical environment. And what's funny about that, but we know that by our own thought, we can make ourselves sick. We know that by our own thought, we can make ourselves fearful. We know that because we say things like, this person makes me sick. But not only that, we can watch something on TV, and it's like, oh, that makes me sick to my stomach, right? That's about what you're thinking about what's going on, because it's something on television, and that thing on television is not in your stomach or in your body. Technically should not have the power to be able to do that. So it's very interesting that we know and believe the power of our thought towards the negative and the unwanted. But by our own thought, we can demonstrate abundance. We can change joy into sorrow. Yes, we can change our physical environment. It at first sounds so incredible that thousands of us never even try it.
Let's say gazillions of us at this point.
But when the time shall come that we can speak of spiritual things normally and naturally, when we can get together and talk about our spiritual experiences and no longer feel that such talk is weird or queer, then we shall have removed one of the big stumbling blocks to our growth. Right? So this is important because one of the other things that I see so often, particularly as those that come to New Thought, is you're in a New Thought closet, or you have one foot in the old and one foot here in New Thought, right? And so what's beautiful about this, while he's talking on the collective, well, you can't control the collective, but you have complete control over your life and your mind. Right? And to the extent that you move to that place of you can speak of spiritual things normally and naturally without your own internal judgment or fear, when you can get together with others and talk about your experiences and no longer that talk feels weird, then you will have removed one of your biggest stumbling blocks to your own growth.
Absolutely. And we're not saying that when you're coming to something new, that you have to be able to go out and evangelize. No. That's not what we're talking about. We're saying this is about your life and how you flow energy and how you move through the world. And where is your calm confidence in the things you say you believe? Now, when you're newer to it, it does make sense that you're still trying to navigate and understand the language and get it in your body kind of thing. However, if your experience of talking about this causes you to be in more fear, then you're not ready to talk about it to the world yet. It is only when you're calm and confident in these things that because you've tried them for yourself, right? You know what your name is. You don't have to talk about it and convince anybody that this is your name. It is your name. When you know it like you know your name, because you've tried it on, because you've used the tools, right? Then it's not going to be a weird conversation. It's just going to be like, how's the weather today? Now, again, no heat, no judgment about where you are. You are where you are.
But the choice is yours.
But the choice is yours about how you move forward from here. And it doesn't mean you got to go out there and tell the world what you're doing. But you got to believe in it for yourself.
The soul feels it is united with the whole, but we have to consciously sense the union individually.
God is a felt reality.
Yep.
We got to sense it. We got to feel it for ourselves.
Consequently, people with an adequate spiritual conviction are in a better state of health than those who do not have a spiritual conviction. And this, right, so this has nothing, this is a beautiful statement, because then you realize this can help you when you're like, well, I've seen people in, other traditions, like they never read Ernest Holmes or read any of this stuff, but there's been healings, or they've had, wonderful demonstrations, or their lives seem to be going really well. Right. Because it's still a spiritual truth, right? With an adequate spiritual conviction. What does that mean? That they're convinced of this sense of union to whatever degree, right? Some people, when I think about the tradition that I came up in, yes, there were those that they were convinced of their sense of union, but they thought it was because of what they were doing. That because they had abstained in a certain way, because they had fasted, because they had sacrificed in certain ways, because they were dressing certain ways, because they did not, quote unquote, sit in the seat of the scornful and didn't go to the movie theaters and didn't do these things, that is what created that union. But what we know to be true is that the union is.
And that's the missing piece. That's why you don't have to beg and beseech God. The union is. The
Right.
good is given. You're just clarifying it in your own mind, not in the mind and power that created universes and worlds and galaxies. What kind of a power would it be if it was that shallow and required you to spit and holler and required you to beg and beseech and required this false sense of humility when it infused you with the universe?
Right. The person who wishes a healing must understand something about spirit. They may do it in a crude way or a refined way, but they must do something to get the conviction into their consciousness that they do not walk alone in life, that there is a presence and a power inherent within them, which is greater than anything they shall ever contact. Contact meaning in the external world.
Right.
And again, it could be crude or it could be refined. Yes, I believe, and I'm saying that in the idea of crude, right, some people think that you have to fast for 30 days in order to have that experience. I think that's crude.
And crude,
Right?
I mean, it's
Compared to refined. I'm using it
refined,
as an example.
using
right?
his words. Right.
That would be a crude way, that you think you have to sacrifice, that you have to go without, that by not eating for a period of time, that then is what
Gives you health.
gives you health and gives you that awareness that God is now close to me. Right? A crude way would be, if we dance and we sing and we clap and we praise, then we usher in the Spirit of God, right? And bring God in, and now we can talk to God, and God is going to respond to us, right? Again, that's crude. That represents a way of humanity that humanity thought in ancient times, right? This is the reason why people were like sacrificed at volcanoes and other things, right? We recognize that we have a more refined understanding. And so that's the difference between the crude and refined.
Right.
That we have information and understanding and an intelligence and an awareness now that allows us to know that it all begins in mind. Right. That we can hold that conviction within our mind outside of any external doing, because it's already given.
Right. I remember when my health challenges were first diagnosed, and I sat there with the doctors, and they were telling me what the prognosis and everything that was going to be. And I listened, but I had an internal conviction about what was going to happen for me. I didn't argue the point. I just held the truth. Until such time as it began to materialize out there. Other doctors agreed with my internal conviction. I didn't waver. I still don't waver. Even if the pain is there or the whatever's there, I don't waver. Because the good is already given me. The healing is already given me. The prosperity is already given me. The creativity is already given me. The joy is already given me, and nobody can take it. The freedom is already given me.
Then it shall be that their life will be a constant unfoldment in grace, charm, enthusiasm, and a great sense of peace. Everything is all right this minute. If we only knew it, This is true, and at the same time, it is not true. It is true in principle so far as reality, capital R reality, is concerned. Nothing more will ever be provided for our good than has already been provided. But that which is true in principle is only as true in practice as we make it.
Right.
Though we are surrounded by beauty, for instance, only as much enters our consciousness as we allow to enter, only as much as we can appreciate. Even though this all good is ever available and immediately responsive, we have a part to play in bringing this into our experience. The fortune was willed the humanity, but since we could not cash the check, it was as though it never belonged to us. Right, and this, of course, takes us back to the metaphor that he gave us in the beginning. But this idea is very important to us. Think about it. He's talking about we're surrounded by beauty, right? So we know roses are beautiful and wonderful, but you could talk about the beauty of roses, right? But that's not bringing the beauty of roses into your home, right? That's not bringing the experience of it, right? And that's the difference. That's the difference, right? We can talk about the principle. We can learn about the principle. We can study the principle. But the principle is only true in as much as we are practicing it. Because in the practicing, we are allowing. In the practicing, we are permitting. In the practicing, we are accepting. And in the practicing, we are deepening our awareness and our understanding of it. Your awareness and your understanding never comes from the reading of it. It's in the practicing of it. Right? I could read about, how to do any number of things, or even in our day and age, watch it on YouTube. But I won't get good until I actually start to practice it. Right?
Absolutely.
We're going to go through a couple more paragraphs. I'm looking at the time.
This is a good chapter, y'all.
Yes. Above all things, we must know definitely and consistently that the universe is for us and not against us. Fundamental.
Right.
This is fundamental.
That is fundamental. If you think the universe is against you, that's the experience that you will have. But it doesn't mean that it's the truth.
Right. Something that would punish you is against you.
Right.
Something that would judge you is against you. Something that withholds from you based on what you did or didn't do, that's against you.
Something that you believe causes you to suffer is against you.
Something that you believe causes hurricanes and earthquakes because people are so bad in a particular region.
Ignores the facts.
Right. That's a universe that would be an idea of a universe that's against you.
Or that certain groups have more power or are more blessed than others. Well, that power isn't in favor of everybody, so it's against all of us, in truth.
Right. Definitely and consistently that the universe is for us and not against us. But someone will say, it is not true. It is not true that the universe is for us. Look at the evil, the lack, the limitation, the physical pain and anguish of the human race. Particularly, people will say, as many have believed for countless years, that God wants them to suffer. Such a thought is perfect nonsense. We must convince our mind that God could not desire evil. We shall also have to get over the age-long determination to believe that evil is an entity. We shall have to learn that evil is not person, place, nor thing, but is an experience we are allowed to have because of our divine individuality, until through negative experiences we learn to use the law affirmatively to cooperate with it and thus enjoy its full benefits. Just as he used the example of electricity, right? We know that electricity, and actually he uses it at the end of this next paragraph, right? The law is as impersonal as electricity. It will warm us or burn us according to the way we use it.
Right. Doesn't mean electricity is evil. It's based on use.
Exactly.
And are there people that are operating from lack, limitation, fear, separation? Yes. But does it have more power than love as reality? No. And we are giving it our power instead of taking back our power and deciding how we use our freedom.
Yeah. And I'll just finish out this paragraph. We shall have to learn that evil is not person, place, nor thing, but it is an experience we are allowed to have because of our divine individuality. Until through negative experiences, we learn to use the law affirmatively to cooperate with it and thus enjoy its full benefits. For the true law is a law of liberty and not bondage. And see, this is when we understand what freedom really is, right? True freedom, you think about it, but it's one of the things about being adults, right? As an adult, you're free, you're grown, and so you're now free to do things and make mistakes.
Yes.
Right? And you're also free to do things that bring good in your life, right? As children, we had buffers, right? As children, we had adults that would be like, no, you can't do that, because they knew what the potential outcome was, right? They could save you from yourselves, right? But as adults, you're so grown, you can go out and do anything. And then whatever the consequences are of that thing, you must also experience, right?
Right. And it's not like you're being punished because this bad thing, this unwanted thing happened. Yeah. It's just the cause and effect of a choice made.
And so, see, we want to have a free idea of God. I was going
to say that.
Right? But then we also want God to be paternalistic.
Right.
Right? We want to have this new understanding of God. Like, okay, God's not controlling things and, to adding and taking away from us and all of those old ideas across many different traditions, right? Okay, but then it's like, but why does God have to, why can't God keep me from making mistakes? It's like, you wouldn't be free.
Right.
You wouldn't be grown, right? In the same way that as adults, it's like you wouldn't be grown. And you grown.
You grown.
Right? Our sins were forgiven us before we ever sinned, which, however, does not mean that we can keep on sinning and get away with it, right?
Like there's no consequence for the, again, sin means mistake, right?
The universe is foolproof. It does not say that we can have what we want, but it does say that we can have what we want, but it also says that we shall have to take into our experience the logical result of our thinking, be it good or what we call evil or what we call unwanted. The law is as impersonal as electricity. It will warm us or burn us according to the way we use it.
Right.
Right? We understand that. I've used cooking analogies many times, right? You put too much salt in the apple pie, right? Right? Or not enough sugar, right, in the apple pie, right? So you recognize when the oven's going to cook it.
Yeah, it's not going to be like, stop.
Yeah.
You sure?
You really don't want me to bake this.
You don't want me to bake this.
You really don't. That's not how it works. You really don't.
Because part of that, we would resent it. Right. No, I want this. Right. Even if we don't really want it, right? We like having our choice. We like having our freedom. But sometimes we don't like the consequences of our freedom.
Right. And that's actually a very powerful thought. It's a through line that we've been reading since the first chapter, but I feel like it's landing differently today. You may not have realized what it means to be free. And even as you have come to these teachings and, you want to manifest stuff and all of that, and that's wonderful, right? Or you may just be tired of the church, right? Some people, they're tired of the church. There's church hurt. They've questioned the Bible, right? All of these things. And so that's what got you here. But there's something powerful that you must fully accept, that you are absolutely free. And being absolutely free, just in the way that being grown, you can cause all kind of trouble for yourself, right? And you can cause all kind of good for yourself. And nobody's going to stop you because you're grown, right?
Ain't your parents or somebody. You're grown. Do what you want.
Right? There are consequences.
Right.
And generally, as parents, that's one of the things that we try to support our children in understanding, right? To learn that, the consequences, right? And that, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. When you put in the time and you study and you, put yourself, put your whole self into something, right? You get wonderful results, right? Versus when you don't, right? All of those kinds of things. So,
right.
We trust that you will read the rest of this chapter this week. That is your assignment. That is your homework. Go back to the beginning. You can come back, of course, to this and watch the replay. And if you have any questions, There
Right.
it is on the
This is a
screen.
great chapter, and it can provoke all kinds of thoughts and beliefs and feelings about it.
Yeah.
Well, we're here to help you move through all of that.
Yep.
But you got to send your questions in
Yes.
by Friday.
Yeah. Email address, truthsunday@celebrationsc.org by Friday of this week, which gives us enough time to prepare to incorporate that into next week's class.
Good stuff, y'all.
And so as we prepare to close, of course, it is time for giving. And you know the truth and the power of giving. It's very simple. As you give, you receive. As you give, you receive. It's a wonderful cycle. It's just like we exhale, and then we can now inhale. That's the way it works. But of course, in order to receive, you have to put yourself in the posture of receiving. So with Healing Sunday today, we did a wonderful exercise of writing out, and I gave you some release statements. It could also be using the power of forgiveness, right? There's a forgiveness prayer I love and use all the time, right? For all those I have harmed, knowingly or unknowingly, forgive me and set me free. For all those who have harmed me knowingly or unknowingly, I forgive you and I set you free. And for the harm I have done to myself, knowingly or unknowingly, I forgive myself and I set myself free. Right? And it's important that as we talk a lot about daily spiritual practice and having your spiritual practice in the morning, but also are you intentional about your evenings? Right? The more that you incorporate some type of release every night, right? Some type of I forgive everybody and myself every night. What that does is then you don't build up resentment. You don't build up all this anger. You know, I realized I was having a conversation with PY the other day, and I was like, oh, I was talking about something, and immediately I was like, oh, I got some forgiveness to do. I didn't realize that I was holding on in my consciousness to some stuff that I didn't want to be holding on to. But as soon as it brought me to my awareness, I was like, oh yeah, okay. I forgive all persons involved. I set you all free. I forgive the past, present, and the future. You're free and I'm free. And so it is. That is another prosperity principle. Again, particularly when we're thinking about our finances, and you're giving faithfully each and every week, you're giving systematically, right? And we love and appreciate that. We also want you to experience the full blessing of the receiving. Mm-hmm. And we recognize that means you must be a full, open, and available channel. Absolutely. And forgiveness and release supports us in staying in that space. It's very easy to give to CSC. You can go to our website, celebrationsc.org/give, or you can text your dollar amount to 347-744-9500. And of course, as we give in confidence, as we give with expectation, as we give from this absolute knowing that as we give, we receive, then we can affirm this truth together. All the money that I circulate.
All the money that I circulate.
Returns to me multiplied.
Returns to me multiplied.
In a never-ending cycle.
In a never-ending cycle.
Of increase.
Of increase.
And enjoyment.
And enjoyment.
To that we say amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
So it is.
Well, again, we love and appreciate you all. This has been a powerful Sunday, a powerful class. For those of you who are watching on Facebook, we're happy that you found this on Facebook. We will be posting the replay on YouTube. It'll air at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today on Sunday. Feel free and remember to join us for Meditation Mondays tomorrow at noon and for the Momentum Prayer Call at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday.
And sign up for the 100 days. Mm-hmm. Of setting your voting intention.
Yes, myelectionintention.com. Absolutely. All right. We love and appreciate you. Bye for now.
Bye for now.